We run front tank mounts on a lot of our planting equipment, on our beet planters and our spud planters, and then also when we're spraying. So we need to redo brackets so that these tanks fit. So let's get into the shop work. Here's what we're doing so far this year. We have serviced all of the tractors, the Challenger, the yellow tractors outside. And then we've waxed them, cleaned them, washed the windows. Everything's looking really good. So on the agenda now is these 250s. We got this 250 and that 250. They are new to us, newer tractors on the farm. And we run front tank mounts on a lot of our planting equipment, on our beet planters and our spud planters, and then also when we're spraying. So we need to redo brackets so that these tanks fit. These tanks were used on the MX series, which is like early 2000s, and then an early 2000s Magnum series. And the frames are slightly different. And so here's an example of what we did. We used this angle iron right here to hang off the weight bracket. And then you got your frame all under the tank. And then you have these two bars right here that will attach up under the frame. There's some bolt holes up under there. And then that way we can just have some counter leverage on our tank bracket. So we have got one done. We need to work on this other one. So this is how the old tanks were mounted. Very similar. Not a lot was different except for these arms right here hooked onto a bracket that was bolted up to the bottom of the frame, and that bracket doesn't work. And so we've got to cut these off, trim some of that back, and then weld on the pieces that will go down the center and bolt onto the frame. So if you know anything about farm engineering, it's usually over-engineered. And by over-engineered, I don't mean like complicated, I just mean like heavy and thick. This is like, I should measure it, but it's like almost inch thick plate. So we're gonna get the torch out to cut that, because I don't know, the grinder is fine, whatever, the bandsaw would be fine. But to get closer to this square tubing here, we're gonna use the torch. I'm a wimp when it comes to bright things on my eyes. So I use a welding helmet set to cut mode, so it's not quite as dark as when you're welding, but it just helps my eyes so I don't have the big white blurry spot in the middle. So on this side, it's a little bit different. We have to take this whole piece off that we use to mount our hydraulic driven pump. Chemical pump, fertilizer pump, whatever it is that we're using this for. 9 times out of 10, this tank's used for fertilizer. And so anyways, we need to cut this off first before we can cut off the arm like the other side, and hopefully not drop this and damage it. Okay, now we got that situated over there. We got to move this tank. Gonna go get the skid steer, move it, swap these out so we can put the older tank, the one we just got done cutting on, we can put on the frame over here, get everything lined up so that we know where to drill holes and how to cut our bracing. Okay, so we're really close to where we need to be, but I'm gonna need some help guiding this up and over because I can't see anything in front of me. We're gonna go get Miguel, and then he can make sure we don't hit anything or break anything. Miguel, let's put one jack under the bottom. Will you tell me where we need to keep the frame level?
Put it press straight up.
Yeah, how high do I need to go?
Oh, right there, put it close on the
Okay. That's pretty close. Uh-huh. Maybe just a little bit up, but that's probably not a problem.
Not too much.
As you can see, we got the tank mounted up. It's held on here by the previously existing bracket mount. There's a bolt going through the center. On these weight bracket mounts on the front of the tractor, there's a bolt hole there. I'm assuming maybe for this or maybe for when you pick it up and remove the bracket. Either way, it works great as a solid anchor point for the front. And then because we don't have our braces underneath, we have just a jack stand sitting here, holding up the front of the tank. And that way we can move it around, get it level, and then continue to build out our tanks how we want, or our braces how we want. So we're gonna crawl under there and find the creeper and crawl under there and do some measuring. Not that it's that big of a deal, but this kind of bothers me. I think it's actually the tank, the red frame around the tank of why this tank is sagging to the right. I don't like that. It's not gonna affect how it works. And in fact, it's actually gonna help the tank because the drain spout is there when we drain it out, but I don't like that. We're gonna try to fix that, make it more level. Okay, so let's see what we got here. The two brackets are a little, or the two tanks are not exactly the same. So we need to make sure that we measure this before we just start cutting and going. So this is what we're going off of. We want to remove this bolt and this one and then put another one in here. And so we need to see how far we need to make there. Our braces. This one's 2 inches shorter. So the two sides are not even. So I want to make sure that we can get those even. So we're gonna use a jack and lift up the one side, see if we can't make it as even as possible. So we got everything measured up. We can cut our flat iron here. So this one is set up on the saw. This is, let's see, this one's the 3-inch. It's 3-inch by 1/4 inch. And then that's gonna be our bottom piece that is our support. And then the flat piece that actually bolts up against the frame is gonna be a 4-inch by 1/4 inch. Okay, so we've got our holes marked. Gonna use a center punch just to make sure that the drill bits falls right into where we want it and it doesn't slide around. This drill press is really nice. You can lock this in and it'll automatically push it down. And then it's got a VFD on it as well, so you can dial down your speed, especially when you get on the bigger drill bits. It does a really good job. All right, on the last hole, a little oil here on this drill bit, help it cut a little better. Okay, so we've got our pieces here with the holes drilled in them. And we're going to brace them up with the 3 by 1/4 inch and 27 inches long. And we're going to make it almost like an angle iron, but I'm going to put it a little more centered so it's more of a T, like a partial I-beam. So we're doing kind of a T. I don't know if that's smart, good engineering, whatever, doesn't matter. I know it works on the other pieces that we've done, so I'm going to keep doing it. So I'm going to get this set here with our square. Make sure everything's nice and straight where it needs to be. And then I'll go grab the welder and we'll tack it up and then we'll weld it solid. Okay, so we've got this piece here. We've got our magnetic square on here. Just double check where we're at here on the end. Make sure everything's straight. I think we're good to go on tacking it together. Yeah, it's mostly square. It's off just a little bit, but that's gonna work. That's gonna work. All right, so we tacked up the middle of it. I'm gonna get a C-clamp here, just to make sure that we can keep everything flat with the straight edge that's on the 3-inch piece. Tack this. Flip it around. Do the same thing on this side. There's just a little bit of a gap. where the flat side isn't quite touching. Yeah, this will just make a nice, straight, more even contact point on the tractor. Okay, we got our 2 brackets built, ready to go. I've got obligations that I gotta go take care of somewhere else, so I'll finish this up later. But you know, like I showed you earlier in the video, this is exactly how it's gonna look. The geometry was just slightly different. We're just gonna have 2 bars going there, and it's gonna bolt up underneath the frame of the tractor, right under the radiator. Nothing too fancy or too exciting, but what are we in here? I mean, just all we had to buy, because we already had the tank mounts, so all we had to buy is this flat iron here, $70. $70 instead of needing to buy a whole new tank mounts and ways to haul our tank. It's really nice. In our area, we have winter and we have a heated shop that we can do different projects like this in. Not a big project, but I need to look up what a tank bracket would cost if, you know, say we had to update to a new tank bracket just for newer tractors. I think we'd be somewhere in the $3,000 to $4,000 range per tractor, or per tank. So we'd be close to $8,000. And this project here, $70 plus time, labor, and like some material with the welder. And I don't know how you would really calculate all of that, but yeah. So that's what we do here at the shop in the winter. Nothing too exciting, but as the winter goes on and we kind of find more issues and things that we need to update or rebuild and redo, we will do more projects. So follow along, and we will keep you updated on different shop projects that are happening throughout the winter. I'm sure more will come as we bring more equipment in. We try to go through nearly every piece of equipment throughout the whole winter. We go through all the diggers, all the toppers, yeah, pretty much everything that we can. Try to do as much preventative maintenance as possible so that we can just go when it's go time. So anyways, like and subscribe. See you next time.